Hello, everybody. Hail Satan and hail yourselves. I want to make this video. I was doing a ritual earlier, and it was for my wealth and other people I know's wealth. And I got to thinking, you know why a lot of us don't have the wealth? Because people, just like us, because we're people, don't want to share. Yeah. They don't want to share. They want to hog all the money. They want to hate anybody that doesn't got money, like homeless people. I used to be homeless. Did you know this rich guy one time told me when I was homeless, I was begging for money. And he come out and I said, "Hey man, do you got?" And he's like, "Hey man, don't you ask me for shit." Yeah. Why couldn't you just said no, I don't want to give to you? You know what I'm saying? But anyways, they look at the homeless people bad. They look at us middle class people as bad. Why do they gotta have all the money? Why, did you know that there's enough money in the world for everybody to have some and live pretty good? Because what it'll be doing is cycling through. It'll eventually end up back to you. Uh, and everybody will live just fine. Yeah. I think it's high time. I read this one time that men build temples of indulgences and stop fighting each other. That makes a lot of sense. It's because we fight each other. America's got a hard on for any country that wants to start shit with it so it can destroy it. Because why? It's got the money to have weapons like that. Because it's greedy. It doesn't care about humanity. If all countries cared about humanity like they say they do, then there would be no need for war. And it could be as we have our differences about does a God exist or not. Of course. Or does our God exist? Of course. Let him. Is it hurting you? I mean, there's nothing wrong with what that guy wants to do as long as he doesn't try to hurt you or push his religious beliefs on you. He should be able to believe in whatever. But you know what stops them? Their religion. That person is wrong because he is not believing in God right, or doesn't believe in God at all. You say that it's easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than it is for a rich man to get to heaven. That is bullshit. That's how Christians hold on to their money, and they tell people who don't have a lot of money that God will provide for you. Just pray to him instead of saying, "Here, you know what? Here's some money." What what is wrong with that? Here's some money. Oh, she didn't work for it, or he didn't work for it, and they don't deserve it. They're just leeching off of other people. No, I'm not leeching off of anybody now. And I still don't make enough money. I have a job too, and I don't make enough money. I make enough money to, let's just say this, make it, and still feel like I'm in debt to something else. Shouldn't have to feel that way about it. But you see, man is so busy fighting each other that they can't even see it. All they see is red because they're angry. They can't see anything else. They're blind. I find it funny that, human beings are all exactly alike when it comes to doing something that the other one wouldn't do. But some of us don't have that choice. We're forced into the things that we wouldn't do. Like, I used to spend money big time back when I would get paid. Now I'm saving for bills, and it's hard to do, but I do it. And it makes me feel like I've slammed my head against the concrete because why? I don't feel like I have enough money. I, but the rich that are Christian that see that, you know, they don't care, just like they don't care about their brethren. Because they'll just tell their brethren that God will provide for them and won't hand them a dime to even help them out. Yeah. Did you know one time I worked for a pastor when I was a Christian cowboy? He told me he was going to pay me at the end of the day. It took him 3 days to pay me. I had to hunt this guy down. Yeah, I was even telling him that Paul in the Bible said a man is worth his wages, trying to get him to pay me when he should have paid me. And why did I have to wait so long? And this guy's got a 2-story house. He's got 4 vehicles. He even has a camper behind the church that people can come and live in as long as they go to church every Sunday and work in the church at least 3 hours a week. He had money. And this church was a 2-story church. Or maybe one, 2.5-story church. Yeah. And it had an upstairs, it had a downstairs, and it had a middle. That's an expensive church. Yeah, this pastor was so shisty, and yeah, he played the devil's game. You know what he told me one time? I was helping these construction workers on his church remodel it, and there was a cross that needed to be torn off of the side of the church. And the pastor called me in there and he goes, Roger, and this is no joke, this really happened. He goes, Roger, what do you think it would look like to the town if they saw you tearing a cross off the side of a church? And I said, they'd probably all spread rumors about me. And he goes, well, what do you think about doing it right now? He's like, just think, Satanists on side of church tearing cross off. And laughed. And I did it, but uh yeah. I mean, this pastor was clearly somebody that that wasn't a pastor all the way fully. I looked in the Bible last night and I forgot to keep looking, but I was looking. They actually have what it takes to be a pastor in the Bible. And a lot of these pastors I've seen ain't got it. Yeah, they're just pastors of a religion that's going to make you feel like shit about yourself. Be greedy. Do all these other things. Why don't the pastors that are doing this realize that they are Satanists? That they're actually Satanists? And that they should build temples for men's indulgences and women's. And as long as we don't step on each other's, as long as we don't step on each other's toes, everything will be all right. And we shouldn't want to, because there's another thing we should indulge in: making everybody feel good, like emotionally, mentally, at all times. Not to think that, like, what I mean is, like, let's just say a man and a woman, or a woman and a woman, or a man and a woman, or a man and a man all wanted to have sex with each other, but the opposite, who they was wanting to have sex with, had somebody already. So they shouldn't want to hurt that person by trying to get their significant other to have sex with them. That would be going against free will. Uh, but now, not to say that there aren't those who would like that. There is. There's some people who actually love to see their loved one have sex with another man or whatever. Because there's all sorts of types out there. But anyways, they love to see it, and it turns them on. Yeah, it's true. Yeah, there. I've read and seen all walks of life. There was this. I was in the mental ward back when I was younger. I was a devil worshiper at that time. I went to the mental ward because of suicidal and homicidal ideations. And when I was in there, I had met this girl named Kelly. Well, me and Kelly ended up kissing in there. And I followed her to her town. And while her husband was making, because her and her husband made songs together, while he was making the guitar solo of that song, she was kissing me again in his house. That's how I know about there's those that don't mind. Yeah, I don't do that anymore. I actually have feelings for the person I'm married to, and I don't ever want to hurt her feelings. Yeah, but that's what I'm talking about. Temple of indulgences. People should all feel good. I mean, we're gonna argue, but we shouldn't. We shouldn't like let it go past an argument, you know. But then again, if we all have a temple for men's indulgences, I mean, what more could you want? I mean, what I've talked about it, uh, I don't see why. I know the words I put forth that if I was hearing that from myself and I was another person, I would think about it. Definitely. And it would keep me thinking about it. You could say I have the mouth of a devil, but I don't. That's just all make believe fairy tales that people get possessed by demons or the devil. And they're make believe fairy tales from Christian propaganda. Uh, that stuff's not real. If okay, you can say, have you ever wanted to do something and didn't want to do it all of a sudden, but couldn't stop yourself no matter what you did? No, because if you paid attention to your emotions, what you were leaning towards the most is what came out. Like, easy example, get angry at something. You noticed if you aren't paying attention, you will not seem like you're sounding angry to them. You're just trying to tell them what you have to say, and then you cuss the game even more. Well, mine's video games. Yeah, that's about the only thing that makes me mad is video games. It actually brings out feelings in me. But you know what? That's a better world to live in than the one I'm living in now. You want to know why? Well, I take that back. Well, no, I don't. Because my wife is part of it. Because she's the reason why I got that game. So she is already part of it. She'd be the god. Me and the game would be the angel and the demon fighting each other in an afterlife if one of us died right there. But one would have to wait for the other because the other is not so quick to die. I know I'm still alive, and I've broken video games before. Oh yeah, I've been doing good on my anger. I haven't broke a video game in a really long time. I've sold them because they make me violent. Not all games, wizard games, just get me kind of angry sometimes. But I don't hit myself no more, and I don't break the game, and I don't uh, say the rudest thing I can to somebody. Uh, I just get angry, and like if somebody asks me a question, I'm like, yeah. But I don't mean, and the only reason why I know about it now is because I've been told about it, but I try not to do it anymore, and it's hard because I'm not really mad at that person, but I want to stay mad at what I'm mad at, and because it's, I don't know, sometimes it helps me think. Like, I die a whole bunch of times, I think, and then I defeat it, and then I feel really good. That's one of my temple of indulgences is video games. Because you see, me getting mad at that video game, I mean, it's not mad at anybody else. I'm just mad at the game. I'm one of them people though that also talk too when I'm mad. But I won't but I'll say I'm mad at that person, but to me I don't think I sound mad at them. I just think I'm talking to them. And yeah, but that's why I take medication too. Because that has a big part of it. Yeah, I take medication right here. Yep. But anyway, hell. But temples for men's indulgences. Why don't we do that? Come on, rich people. You mean to tell me that you don't want a little bit more out of life than what you're getting? I mean, don't you think that you don't feel tired of feeling like your righteousness is as filthy rags and you'll never be worthy of God's grace? He only gives you grace. That's why it's called grace. And he's really mad at you and hates you and because you're sin. And you're lucky he even sent his only begotten son, which was himself, to kill himself. I don't know why y'all don't get that one yet. And, you know, if you really get to thinking about it, what's wrong with just trying it? As long as you don't die, won't Jesus take you back? Yeah, if it doesn't work out for you, isn't Jesus like the prodigal son? Like the son comes running back to the father, and the father wraps his arms around him and treats him with a ring and the best feast ever. And it was so good that the brother was like, "Hey, how come you haven't done that for me?" Yeah. I mean, come on now. I mean, but all that story, it's a, it's fake. Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, somebody did write that in a book, but Jesus never told that story. I'm going to tell you something. There is no Jesus, no accounts whatsoever, any documentations, none. Anything like they found Noah's Ark. If they found that, how come they haven't found the cross of Jesus? That was a lot later than the Noah's Ark. How'd they find Noah's Ark pieces? How'd they do that? Yeah, but they can't find Jesus's cross. Very interesting. Yeah, something that happened a lot later in time can't get any type of written material documentation, any cross. Yeah, none. This Jesus guy is not going to save you and bring you to the pearly gates and open them for you to the streets of gold to worship God forever. Nothing like that. I don't know why Christians believe that. I mean, first of all, you can't create the world in a way to where it survives without the order that it goes in. Do you know that Genesis has the order messed up? Vegetation came before the light. How'd that happen? You can say, "Oh, God's all powerful." Well, if the God can't get the correct sequences as men have figured out in science, which tells an accurate picture, and you can go test this, you can study this, you can do anything you can to find it false, and you never will. It'll always remain true. And even scientists still say, we don't know. There could be something more. Let's look into it. And they test everything. They're testing everything. That's how we got an understanding of life. It was man who brought it forth and let us know. And it seems like it's the best thing possible for what's happening right now. Yeah, did you know I seen how a cell phone was made the other day in a museum? Yeah, like crystals and minerals, all from the miners. Yeah, and they tested those things and figured out things about those things and what they could do together, as long as a little bit of this was added to it. You know, yeah, man figured that out. God did not do that because it would have said it in the Bible. It said, "And thy Jesus had thou as the cell phonist." Yeah, I had to put a TH on every one of it. I make fun of the King James Bible sometimes. But yeah, man. But, the sad thing to say is even after this video, I know that man is not going to create temples for indulgences. Because you know why? Man is stuck on himself. I mean, there are temples of indulgences like my house, uh, but not everybody can come here. That's the kind of temple of indulgences I have. But what could be done is like one where everybody can come to and be able to do whatever it is they want as long as it doesn't violate anybody else. Yeah. But, after this video, like I said, they're going to say probably no. They're probably Christian too. Or if they're not Christian, they're leaning towards Christianity. So they won't do it. They're like, no, 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 no. That's when Satan will come into our lives. Let me ask you something. Do you not think that, especially when I was a devil worshiper, an actual devil worshiper, don't you think I would have found out about some demon possession or devil possession or whatever? Don't you think I would have felt that by now? Like something just wasn't right and this evil force was around me and it came into me and I did all these things that I couldn't control. And the whole time I was like, no, 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 none of that happened. Or I tell you, if something like that happened, I would be scared because it's there. Just the feeling of it. I guarantee it would be freakish. Oh yeah, you'd be all, "Ooh, what the hell is going on here? Why do I feel like this?" And it would just be, I mean, like you couldn't mistake it. It'd be the most uneasy feeling you ever felt out of your whole life. Did you know they say, well, there's ghost hauntings, which are actually demons? No, there's not. Those people that say they got scratches and cuts did that to themselves. They were so convinced it was happening, they did it to themselves. They were just in a state of mind, though, that they were freaking out, probably hallucinating, because I've hallucinated too. I've seen things that weren't there. I've talked to people that weren't there. Everything. That's a hallucination. Because it doesn't happen all the time. To some people, it does. But they take medication for that too. It helps that slow down. And guess what? Man figured that out. God didn't do that. Don't you see the whole time that man has at least been trying to look out for the other? That's why we need to put aside the religions that bring up uh uh bad things between each other. Like I told you about the Jesus story. Said he was sin son against father and daughter against mother and stuff like that. He said he did not come to bring peace but a sword. Let's put those religions away. Yeah, we need to, that's what stops us from looking at us. Yeah, we are all the same thing. I breathe, I bleed, I have spit, I, I have to blink my eyes because they get dry like other people's. But sadly to say, there's going to be those that hear this and say, no. Yep, never will it happen. But for those of you that want this to happen, what I'm talking about, just know that it never will. I've been waiting for at least a whole year, fully, I should say, and a couple of months. And I still haven't seen temples for men's indulgences, except my own. I really don't have much friends around where I live because it's super, super Christian. And yeah, I met a couple of people, but the conversation never came up to, hey, you want to be friends on Facebook at least? Because everybody that comes to these places is Christian, so we don't know if we're talking to a real Satanist or not. I mean, I try my best, don't get me wrong, in my presentation to come at you and let you know, yes, I am a Satanist and I am proud of it. Yeah, that's another thing. We get my religion, you say, what about your religion? Well, I just told you what my religion thinks. To be proud of who you are, which takes away your righteousness as filthy rags. And to live your life with true free will, which means you'll have other free will for people, not to force them into the things that they don't want to do. As long as that's happening, true free will, which are God, His free will says, either you believe in Jesus, He's your Lord and Savior, like it says in Romans chapter 10, verses 9 and 10, and verse 13, or else you go to hell. That's what God does. That's not free will. I'm here to tell you, if you start to believe that that's free will, you are highly naive. Yes, very highly naive. Your naive is so high up there, it's with God in the clouds that you think about every night and day. Who you've been asking for forgiveness for. Do you think that His kingdom, let's say heaven's real, do you think His kingdom's a palace of where people can enjoy themselves? Nope. Even those mansions that Jesus was talking about in the Bible that He builds for us in heaven, we won't even get to see those because we're going to be either praising God for eternity or strumming harps and then praising God for eternity, whatever makes God feel the best, right? And that never stops. You keep doing that. I wonder what would happen if one got tired and couldn't, like, he spoke so much he couldn't breathe. I know what it's like when I sing heavy metal. Sometimes I feel like I can't breathe and I can't say anything. I'm just, yeah, trying to say something and I can't. What happens in heaven when that happens? He just stopped praising God. Is it time for him to go to hell? I mean, you can't, God's hard to predict, but you can predict one thing about God. He will murder. He will make you think your righteousness is filthy rags and you just aren't worth it because the only reason why He likes you is He's giving you grace which you don't deserve and sent Himself to kill Himself for you. Yeah. That's why you're going to be praising for eternity. You should not want to not praise for eternity when you're up there, because let's just say this Bible's real, it did save you from going to hell. Why would you want to stop? It's just like when, don't you think that if somebody saved somebody's life, that that person would tell them, "I can't repay you enough." That's what God feels like. You can't repay Him enough. Yeah, that's Christianity is a masochist, a misdirected masochist at that. Holy shit! You want to go through something like that? But knowing in Matthew chapter 7, when it said, "Straight and narrow is the gate that leads to heaven, and few there be that find it," that don't you think that uh that few means like very little? Because you want to know what it also says? Broad is the way to destruction, and many be that find it. You sure you aren't one of them many? Boy, there is so many beliefs in Jesus that it's unreal. So many. And if you don't believe their way, then you're wrong. You must have not studied God good enough. You go to them as they're your guru, and you'll forever go to them because you'll never know what the Bible means because you'll try to say something else and they'll be like, "Yeah, but this is what it really means." And yeah, they're out there, lots of them. But and you could think your way was right, but who's to say your way's right? For there, for there is no one true but God. Yeah. So if God's the only one that's really got it right, how do you got it right? Yeah. See how that kind of makes you feel? Kind of like, you know what? Maybe he's right, man. Damn, I can't believe that shit. And it should make you feel like that. I know I did. When I got away from Christianity, it was kind of rough. I wanted to die because I figured out that this God that I was worshiping for 5 years was not real, and it was Jehovah. Christian cowboy. That's why I said that thing, Christian cowboy, in my other videos and this video. It's because that's what I was. And as a cowboy, I thought all cowboys worship God and believe that Jesus was their savior, and I believed that way. Yeah, that's how I studied the Bible and know what it says and know where to go look in the Bible and shit like that. I don't know where to go look exactly for everything that I say to you, but you can look it up. Just use the sentence that I used and everything will work out. But anyway, yeah, the Temple of Men's Indulgences. Oh, what a fine thing it would be. We can hope to let it happen, but guess what? It never will. Because another thing, if if the world ceased to stop preying upon each other, would it continue to exist? All right. Hail Satan, hail yourselves, because you deserve it. All right. Have a nice day.